Welcome to the PSAV Inspiration Cafe. We're speaking with Donella Evoniuk,
Thank you.
Senior Director of Conference Services for the International Society for Technology and Education. That was not easy to get out, by the way.
That's a lot of words.
I didn't trip on any of it. Donella, welcome to the Inspiration Cafe.
Thank you so much for having me, Bill.
We just want to talk in general terms with planners like yourself, particularly planners who host large meetings, and I think you have a big one, to talk about a couple of areas. One, technology, and also in terms of overall audience expectations, how your audiences have changed. But let's start with what kind of meetings do you host?
So our organization was founded over 30 years ago as a forum and a learning environment for teachers to come together with each other all over the globe and talk about how technology is improving the teaching and learning process. And that's particularly important for us in the meeting setting because we're always trying to find new ways of introducing new and emerging technologies, which, as we all know, is not easy.
Yes. Now, the technology you're talking about is leading the teachers. In other words, you're showing them technology for the classroom, or
it's not just it's. I think at the beginning it was probably about, oh, this is a mouse and this is a computer screen,
right.
This is the power button, and what it's actually become more about is about how the curriculum and the learning process itself gets enhanced through the use of technology. Right now, it's been really maybe in the last 7 to 10 years. It's been really easy because of the power of the internet.
Right.
Connecting people all over the globe. Kids can do projects where they're printing their own images, they're doing their own research, they don't have to go to a library anymore, the collaboration is different. And so we're finding ways to showcase that to educators, both at the classroom level and at the district level and at even the ministry level or the governmental level.
So they look to you to be leading edge in terms of here's what's happening at the forefront of technology?
That's right, we're the trusted source.
So it must by definition then be symbolically important for you to use technology in your meetings, otherwise...
It's critically important for us. And in fact, we are always trying to find ways to introduce things to our audience that they didn't see coming. So for example, 10 years ago we started using handhelds to deploy content, very much like what you see right now for apps. Right? Everybody's got the app for their meeting and for their event. Well, we were doing it with palms and beaming stations.
You were ahead of your time.
You know, well, I know, and in fact we had to stop doing it because not enough people had devices at the time. But the point is that what we figured is that if we were using it as a way for people to get around the conference, they would naturally adapt and start to adopt it as a concept for using it in the classroom. They would say, oh, you know, well, it was really easy for me to get around and download my materials for the conference. I bet it would be easy for me to do this with homework assignments in the classroom. So we're finding ways to use the technology sort of in a sly way.
Right. And not to beat this to death, but that means you're also an incubator for new ideas for how they can apply that in
exactly. And that's our pressure. And that's actually what our audience has come to expect from us, particularly in the event setting.
Right.
Is the next thing that they didn't know was coming, which means that we have to be on the bleeding tip of the arrow, if you will.
Right. Nicely put. But there's not just one teacher. I mean, you serve teachers, correct?
We serve all elements of the education platform and all over the world. And so there's all kinds of different ways that the educational, sort of the public education system functions in different places. And so we have to be so broad that we can showcase that. Because
not only are their functions different, but also I would guess their ages are different, so multi-generational audiences who have varying levels of comfort with technology.
Absolutely.
Are your teachers, your audience, not just your teachers, but your members, big users of social media? They
are, and that's been a really, really exciting part of the event environment, is how to enhance and create that community. I guess it was in 2007 when sort of MySpace was really taking off, a little bit of Facebook, a little bit of Twitter. We started thinking about how the conference environment is a network, it's social, and then all of a sudden we've got these new Web 2.0 technologies that are showcasing community connection. And so thinking about how the event space itself fit into the construct of the social media engagement and people being able to interact with each other all the time on different topics. And so we said, well, okay, how can we make that be a part of the event experience, get people engaged ahead of time, start to use that as a way for them to connect before showing up on site. And it was amazing. And we stopped. What we learned from social media was to stop telling them what to do when they arrived.
Telling the audience what to do.
Telling the audience what to do when they get there. Basically, it's a great example of if you build it, they will come. So we build a space, and then we get out of the way. And we let the people create their learning. Because their self-directed learning is a huge piece of ownership. Then they start to feel like, this meeting belongs to us. This conference is mine. I'm loyal to this. This gives me a place to come. ISTE gives me a place to come where I can talk to my peers, I can learn from them. I don't have to go to a session where I'm sitting there in a room listening to somebody yammer on about what I should do. I get to be a part of creating what's next.